Okay, so in this room we have plants from some of the cooler parts of the world, and this is the Willemy pine, Willemia nobilis, and it's from southern Australia and kind of a remote valley. It was only discovered by scientists in the 1990s. So it was a new genus of tree at that point, found in a remote spot in southern Australia. And it's a very rare plant. There's maybe a couple of hundred mature trees left in the wild, but we have a couple of specimens of it here in the UConn greenhouses. So quite an endangered plant. There was some question during the intense wildfires that Australia had a couple of years ago whether the Willemy pines would survive in the wild at all. I think firefighters actually parachuted into the area where it grows and controlled the fire and managed to save the grove of Willemy pines in the wild. This is Banksia from Australia, and it's just about to bloom right now. The flowers are not quite open yet, but it'll produce big clusters of flowers that produce a lot of nectar and I think are primarily pollinated by birds. Banksia is part of the same family as the proteas, which grow in South Africa. They're the South African relatives of Banksias. But both of these are used to some extent in the cut flower trade as kind of high-end cut flowers that need to be imported from overseas. Yeah.
So when that opens up, then where are the seeds then?
This is an old flower from last year. The seeds, if it does set seeds, it produces these, they almost look like clamshells, but these little individual fruits that kind of hide among the dried up remains of the old flowers.
Kind of like a cone.
And yeah, it looks a bit like a cone. It's a flowering plant. It's not a conifer or anything, but the seed heads eventually do develop into these sort of cone-looking things with little hard woody fruits on them.
Okay. So you don't have those cones?
No, I've never seen this one develop seeds. Never did anything with this old seed head.
So when that opens up then, so are these petals? What are those?
They're weird, kind of complicated flowers. I think they might be kind of modified petals. It's the kind of fuzzy pincushion looking thing. It's actually a cluster of hundreds of little flowers.
Okay.
So each of these little guys is an individual flower. These are not quite open yet. I think they maybe have a little bit of petal on them, but they're mostly stamen, the male part, and pistil, the female part.
When do you think that'll flower? Because we need to come back.
Oh, soon. It will be open soon. It doesn't look a whole lot. I'd say if you come back in 1 week, they'll probably be open pretty much.